Welcome, 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 everyone, to another Universal Citizens Media Live webcast. And once again, I am joined by David Ellis. David, are you there?
Yes, I am here, Andrew. So happy to be back.
Yeah, happy to have you here. You've had a little bit of time off. You were working on some really amazing projects.
Yes,
and you've got something you're going to play for us as a part of special introduction.
Yes, so I was away on retreat for the last week or so. I was at Satya and Rogers AE 360 camp, and I met some very interesting people there from the Erotic Blueprint, Jayama students, and they are very interesting. So we actually got an idea in our heads to start a new series called Sexual Healing, because I was watching the shows for the last couple of weeks. So I figured that it was just destiny, really. So we have the Erotic Blueprint people, and they're willing to come in. And we're going to start a new series called Sexual Healing with them. And we actually have a promo for one of the new shows. Robert, are you there?
I'm here, ready to go.
You want to show our audience what we're working on?
Let's do it.
Sure. Excellent, Robert. Thank you very much. So that's a series on those of you who are having issues with intimacy, issues with pleasure, issues with your relationship. We're going to be dealing specifically with relationship issues, people who have issues with their partners in terms of communicating their wants and needs to their partners. We are also going to be doing another show on health and healing and nutrition. We have a lot of exciting things coming up, including our retreat in October in Barbados. We are going to be having Chris Chappelle, Qigong master with very authentic lineage down in Barbados, as well as a holistic retreat where we're going to have practitioners from all over coming to share with the rest of the participants in the retreat and so on. We're going to be having lectures on nutrition. We're going to be having massage therapists and a number of other very exciting people. So if you guys can come to the retreat, please come to the retreat. It's pretty much a $5,000 retreat, but because it's Unified Health Systems inaugural retreat, we're offering it at $2,000 US, that's inclusive of accommodation, which is quite a deal. So I'm just going to put that out there. And Andrew, back to you. Andrew, are you there?
Well, I'm here. I just had to unmute real quick. So that $2,000 you said includes their hotel inside the retreat?
Okay, so the retreat is being held at Naniki's in Barbados, and yes, it's a beautiful place. Robert is actually going to play the promo during the break if you guys are interested to look at it. Go ahead.
So for $2,000, everyone, you're there from the 11th to the 14th. Your hotel has been paid for, and you get access to all these teachers, plus the Unified Healing Systems, access to the technology that we've talked about for many, many months now. So you get an opportunity at immersive healing, deep rejuvenation, and then getting to work with the Qigong masters.
Yes, you're also getting one-on-one counseling as well while you're there in terms of nutrition. I will be on hand as well as a number of other practitioners, and they will be there to answer all of your questions. We have people from traditional Chinese medicine coming, and of course we will have the technology on hand. The Lucia Light will be on hand as well. And we're going to be offering sessions with the Lucia Light as well. So yeah, it is definitely a bargain. As I said, I will be there. Robert has another promo for us. Is that it? Yes, Robert, go ahead. Play it for the audience, if you can. Excellent. I actually never saw that promo, and I think I'm going to move in. So if you guys are interested, feel free to contact us at info@unifiedhealthsystems.com, and we will certainly answer your questions. I was away from email for a bit, but I will definitely be answering your questions personally. And yeah, make sure that you guys are willing to expand your consciousness, because this is going to be a very consciousness expanding exercise. The retreats are going to be for, like, as I said, going to be at 4 days, but we're going to have lectures in between, and you're going to have the opportunity to interact with people who've been either on the spiritual journey or are masters in their own right. So as I said, contact us at info@unifiedhealthsystems.com, and we will get back to you. Okay, ready for the show now?
And we encourage everyone to actually come and sign up and come to this retreat. This is our inaugural retreat at our Barbados facility, and these prices will not last forever. These are that special introductory. Normally, this is a $5,000 retreat that you're going to be getting $2,000. That's hotel included. So contact info@Unified Health System and go ahead and purchase your spot. Spots are limited. All right, everyone, let's get started with a Universal Citizens live show. David, you've been on retreat, expanding the network. We've got a lot of new shows that are coming up. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had a variety of callers coming in that have having intimacy issues. So I want to start with you. What is the basic thing that you can help people if they're suffering from an intimacy issue in a bad relationship? Say they've been married for 10 or 15 years, and intimacy has become complacent.
Okay, so the first thing, we're going to approach this from an Alcoholics Anonymous position, more like Abstinence Anonymous. Okay, if you are someone who is practicing abstinence without any philosophy behind it, you're practicing it because you feel you have to, but you would like to have an intimate connection with someone, the first thing you have to do for yourself is admit that you want to have an intimate connection with someone. It may be your spouse, it may not be your spouse. There's no one to judge that. What you should theoretically do, first of all, before doing any of that, is get used to the idea in mind, first of all, that I want intimate connection, whether that intimate connection may be sex or just the connection of holding somebody's hand, looking into their eyes and feeling their desire, their passion for you, their interest in you. So getting used to the concept in mind, first of all, is very important. The second thing is a lot of people are not very used to their bodies. They don't like their bodies. A lot of people have shame and guilt and all sorts of negative associations with their own body. And those need to be eliminated. And I'm going to say something that is going to be controversial. If you don't pleasure yourself, no one can pleasure you. Okay? So when I say that, I know a lot of people's minds usually will just go to, oh, Did David just ask me to masturbate? Well, yes, David just did. But David also wants you to be able to become familiar with your own body, and that would mean stripping down naked and looking at yourself in the mirror for long periods of time. Do you like what you see?
It also includes not talking to you about yourself in third person anymore, as David was talking about himself in third person. But when it comes to you and your self-pleasuring, you can no longer be in the third person. You got to be in the body. And that seems to be a major issue with the shame, blame, and guilt about self-pleasuring. Self-pleasuring goes down to the roots of self-healing and self-nurturing. Can you give yourself the gift with all the personal enthusiasm?
You know, Andrew, a lot of that self-pleasuring guilt and shame comes from belief systems, okay? It comes from belief systems. I believe there are a few quotes about that in the Bible that says that you must not spill your seed on the soil. Basically, you shouldn't masturbate. We want to deconstruct those ideas. These ideas do not serve anyone, okay? Some people may not have a happy life, and that might be the only way they may find pleasure, okay? You may not have a partner. You may have a partner, who knows? But what you need to do post haste is become familiar with your own body, what makes it feel good, what makes it not feel good. The whole concept of Tantra is that you cannot connect with someone else if you do not connect with yourself, first of all. And it is through the connection of both people that you find a sort of happiness and harmony, which makes you expand your consciousness just past yourself. All right, this is the concept of Tantra. I just condensed it for you guys. Obviously, there are lots of other parts to it, but you find union, which is what yoga means, by the way. The word yoga means marriage or union, okay? And usually you might want to get married to yourself first before you get married to someone else, okay? Know yourself, know the other. This is the concept. So in terms of, go ahead, Andrew.
So when it comes to marriage to yourself, it's really about, can you be in a comfortable relationship with yourself in regular journeys to self-healing and self-nurturing and self-pleasure that don't create charge or polarity as shame, blame, and guilt inside you. Because so many people get lost in a fantasy world, and then when they meet the physical person in the fantasy, there's a set of confusion things that come over them, like the shame, blame, and guilt, or the need to control that person. So ultimately, it's a balance between the fantasy world and the pleasure that you're going to be creating in that journey.
That is correct. So a lot of people live within their heads. It's a part of being human, okay? But a lot of people live within their heads in such a way which is not necessarily healthy. So if you're a woman and you idealize some man in your head, it might be somebody who's in your office, a coworker or somebody, and you really want this person, okay? It may be sexual, it may be more than that, who knows? The best thing to do is actually start a dialogue first of all. And actually, I would like to probably go through a little bit of tantric philosophy with you guys. So in Tantra, for those of you who have read the original version of the Kama Sutra, you would remember that the way you engage the other being the person that you're going to be engaging in a relationship with, it usually goes from the top down, like this. It goes like this. So the brains meet first of all. You could see the future. You express your love to yourself. Your heart opens. You negotiate issues of power and powerlessness, and so on, and help and helplessness, and then the support, and then you have sex. Okay, that's how it usually goes. But not in the modern world. It usually goes like something like this, right? You sex first, and then you try to make everything else work until it reaches the top.
It's like the modern relationships are all too often like a McDonald's Happy Meal. Okay.
That was it.
You may get the toy at the end.
Yes, you may get the toy at the end. Correct. So, what we're trying to encourage people to do more often than not when you're teaching a tantric class or whether you're part of the erotic blueprint is that they must know themselves first. Of course, the erotic blueprint essentializes what it is that people want to do with their sexual lives. It basically breaks them up into five different.
One of the oldest teachings throughout all spirituality is know thyself.
That is correct.
And there's a wonderful reason to know thyself, who you are as a sexual being, because there are times your sexual energy is used at your work. And in many people, like last week, 2 weeks ago, we had a lady call where a tremendous amount of her actual energy, her sexual energy, goes into her being a financial planner, and she's ended up being a prude around her husband because she saves her sexual potency to close and keep a sale in an unknowingness factor. She didn't even realize she had been using up her sexual energy because of the nature of the job she had been doing for 13 years.
Here's the thing, Andrew. Sexual energy is energy, and energy can be transmuted into anything. Here's the problem. Right. If you're going to alchemize sexual energy, whether you're alchemizing it into sex magic, if you're pagan, or whether you're alchemizing it into financial planning, please be aware that you might want to reverse that sometime in the future. So don't get locked in it to try to bring it back. All right. I know a few esoteric practitioners who only have sex for the purposes of having sex magic, for propagating sex magic. Some of them come from pagan roots, and sex magic was probably used in Beltane, and they don't have sex outside of that. Beltane, first of all.
There are also many people who are in married circumstances that only have sex to placate a husband, which is the similar thing. It's sex magic for that transmutative factor. Just a different reason.
Okay. Yes, if you're using sex as a duty, that is damaging yourself. There's no other way of putting that. Okay? And that is coming once again from belief systems that have taught women to not view sex as something for themselves, but to view sex as something for their husbands. I mean, there are lots of verses that I could quote you, whether it be in the Gita, whether it be in the Bible, which basically reduce women's sexuality towards this is for your husband. No, this is for yourself as well. It may be for your husband, but it's also for yourself. So a lot of them just wait until their husbands are ready for sex. I am now ready for sex. You must now give me sex. That is not actually a bisymmetrical relationship. That is an asymmetrical relationship, sexual relationship. And what happens to your mind as a result of it is that you are just the thing that is being used. Okay? You are an extension of his hand. So do you really want to be seen in that light? Is the next question.
If they can even see themselves in that light. Unfortunately, too many relationships, they don't allow the juxtaposition of perspective. And too often, many relationships are subtly codependent, especially at a sexual release level. Okay?
Let me tell you about a client of mine, a case actually, that I had a few years back. Husband found his wife masturbating. He felt so hurt that he ended up in my office, and I could not look. Honestly, he was hurt. He felt that she had like cheated on him. And I looked at him and I'm like, wow, how do you get that? It's because he came from a very religious background, and he was taught that his wife's body is for him. So her taking part in her own body, right, or enjoying her own body was something that really hit him deeply. It wasn't even another man, another woman. It was just her pleasuring herself, and he walked in on her pleasuring herself. The reaction is not that, oh, can I participate in this? No, the reaction was like shock and horror. And how could you do that? Of course, coming from a certain background, he would probably feel that way. And there were religious undertones inside there as well. So these things are real things. People have those kinds of issues. And we really would like you guys to live a happy, full life. Sexuality is part of your body's natural potential. Okay? And if you are not actualizing yourself as a sexual being, you are living a half life. Half.
A half-life.
Okay.
Interesting. Now, we have a lot of people who become hermits in our journey because they become emotionally sensitive or empathically sensitive to other people, and they don't know how to turn their sensitivity down, and then they become extremely lonely hermits with no sexual social skills.
Well, here's the thing about empathy. Of all these, of all the extended powers of mind and heart there is, empathy would have to be the most troublesome, and I'll tell you why. You can't switch it on and off easily. You just can't.
Nope.
Okay, so someone who's naturally empathic would probably go into a bar and they just want to have themselves a drink, but it's a bar. Okay, so somebody, let's say a woman, for instance. So every man that comes up to them, they're not only going to feel the stuff that's coming off of the man, but they're also going to be feeling what the intent is. Okay, and it can become overwhelming, especially when you're in a bar in a situation where people just want to get drunk and probably they have a lot of other stuff going on with them. For that
or
woman,
just
she's
their
going
their happiness turns somebody else off because it's too much energy for them in their hermited state. When somebody reaches a high frequency, even through joy and laughter, they get repulsed by it, and the over empath doesn't get it.
So my advice to the empaths out there, I believe we got a little bit of a shtick the last time I was on there because I was giving advice to empaths. But anyway, I'm going to do it again anyway. Who was it? Who was the lady who pulled us up on that? I can't remember her name. But basically, my advice to empaths is that if you are over empathic, you probably need to deal with people on a one-on-one basis. Okay? And you need to develop your social skills more than a normal person, not less than. Becoming a hermit will not help you. You can run up to the top of the Himalayas, and there's going to be somebody that is going to find you up there. So you need to develop more social skills, as in become more socially aware, more socially communicative to people and so on, as opposed to less, because you could diffuse situations when there's a lot of energy coming at you by simply talking. Okay? I'll give you a running example. The woman in the bowels of empathic. The guy comes up to her. He probably has problems in his marriage. He's taking his ring off. She knows he's married more often than not. He's taking his ring off, and he's coming up to you, and he sees you as a piece of meat, and he just wants to get you into bed. Okay, you're probably going to feel all of this stuff. Solution: start speaking. Say hi. You're married, aren't you? Right? And it diffuses the situation. It diffuses the situation. Now, you probably don't necessarily want to have to do that all the time, but the fact of the matter is confronting the problem as opposed to running away from the problem is better than running away and hiding and pretty much turning your life down. You're going to meet some bad people. You're going to meet some in-between people. You're going to meet people who are in pain. But the point of communicating and developing your social skills is that you are able to diffuse the situation so that you're not blasted with energy everywhere you go. Okay?
Exactly. And all too often, people don't stand in their body. So let's say that bar scenario and somebody comes up to hit on you and you don't stand up, that energy enters you via tacit consent.
I think most people who have empathy, they think that they have no choice but to let that energy roll through them. And that's why they run away. And I want to tell them that you actually do have a choice. You can confront the situation and you can diffuse and disconnect energy if you just simply talk. Because the people who will blast you with this energy in that situation are coming to you from a particular frequency. And that frequency is easily disturbed. As in the situation the scenario I just gave. If a man, if you say to this individual, you're married, aren't you? And the man says to you, no, I see it. I see that you're married, you're involved with someone. But that disconnects him and disarms the energy. And then you can have a discussion from there. Although he might not want to talk to you for the very simple reason, you've called him out on his shit, really. So my advice to people who have empathy issues, in the sense that you want to run away, don't run away. Okay? Don't run away. Don't hide. Because what's going to happen to you is that your life will become squeezed down. Sexuality will become something that is shunned by your mind, because more often than not, what you're going to be feeling, especially if you're a woman, is sexual energy coming at you. And women do feel that because they're naturally empathic creatures. Huh? They are. Okay? There's something called a woman's intuition. So they're naturally, and it's usually based on empathy. It's not based on any psychic gift. It's based on empathy, being able to feel or to dance the other, as M.S. Césaire says in his book. To be able to feel the other person is a gift. It gives you a bit of a power. Okay. So
and you said such a cool word. You're able to dance with those energies.
Correct.
Now, when you allow that dancing, you're engaging on a back and forth, and not an exchange of common charge and polarity. You are working with the sensual energies first, that may lead into something that is sexual, or maybe a sensual buildup, which is another humongous aspect that most people in sexuality miss, is the sensual process, which is just as important as the sexual release.
Let me tell you about my personal experience with an erotic blueprint coach. No, this will not get hot and steamy. Sorry to disappoint you guys.
Oh, come on.
We're
an adult show.
Right. There's a lot of Let me tell you about my experience with an erotic blueprint coach. So I was at this retreat, and this young lady came up to me. Okay. So they're a fun bunch of people. They really are. Right. But she is an empath at 100%. She's also very pagan and an empath. And she could see through me easily. So of course, I'm not going to resist anybody psychically trying to see through me. The thing about what is the difference between a psychic and an empath? Let me just tell you what the difference is. Psychic uses intent to see through. Empath does not have a choice. Okay? They're just turned on. It's turned on. There are some empaths that can control the empathy, but they usually have to train that for years and years and years. So she could see through me. And I spoke, So I spoke to her, and I told her, how are you dealing with being an empath and a sexual blueprint coach? And she says, it makes me a better sexual blueprint coach, not a worse one, because I could see the stuff and I know what I can work through. Okay, so I want everybody who's here, I don't need y'all to become empaths, but you need to become empaths for yourselves. You need to be able to feel what you feel. Okay, you need to be able to feel what you feel. But those of you who have locked yourself into this little box of there is no sexuality is bad. No, it's not bad. Some of you have had bad experiences and you put yourself in that position. And I want to tell you, it probably was the wrong decision. Okay? Because it's part of your nature. You are a human being, it's part of your makeup. So I would urge you to reconsider this. Okay? Mm-hmm. So tell me about the shows that were that I have missed.
We had quite a few people that were in a scenario where they'd been in a long-term relationship that ended, or still in a long-term relationship, and they or become hermit a long periods of time, and they lost their social skills, and then they're desperate about finding relationships, but in their hermitsy, all they're trying to do is attract a mate but they don't go out in public. They just are online, and they've lost all of those physical social skills, and they have become so tight and tense in their body, they become hyper empathic to something that's not even in their frequency yet, and they find themselves creating something they don't want over and over again.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot to unpack. So let's start with online dating. Yeah. Pretty much the manufacturing assembly line of love, really. Okay, I have mixed feelings about online dating because I didn't actually knew that there was such a thing called speed dating. Have you heard about this concept, Andrew?
Yes, I have. Yes,
so it's
I
basically
have.
You sit down.
Yes, it's quite interesting, speed dating. I've done it 3 times.
You're kidding. Tell me no.
No. This was in San Francisco.
Okay, of
this
course.
was 2005, 2006. And you essentially got 6 minutes to get to know a person. And there might be 80 people in the room. And by the end of the night, you might meet 15, 20 people. And after you've met 5 people in that 6 or 7 minutes, whatever they're giving you, you can go back for another 2 minutes with another person, or you could just get up and leave. So there might be 90 people in the room, round 1, then 80, because people will leave and go off and do something, usually in a thing. And then another thing I did was, I don't know how to describe it. It was like an dating adventure tour. So everyone that's going on it is going as a single person, and you might go to Mardi Gras, or you might go to Chichen Itza, or a variety of adventure tours where everyone's starting out single, and you just kind of find your way. Everyone's doing something. Go-karts, and one day it's go-karts, the next you're on a bus, you're on a plane. So you get to see a person in a variety of scenarios that isn't the bar, that isn't dinner, that isn't a movie, that isn't sitting at home, and that isn't your normal things. And you kind of have a different sense of a person when they're out of their norm.
Mm-hmm.
And yourself has to be more in your body too.
Okay. Now that that's explained to me, I think I can relate to the concept. The problem is that there are lots of horror stories of online dating. Everyone I meet.
I've had
Everybody I meet.
Horrors. Right. That's why I've ended all those profiles. So.
Right. I've never done online dating, and but I've spoken to people who have, and the horror stories are quite wow.
Right.
So,
right.
I've heard stories of stalking, of people showing up, right, of being proposed to on the first night. That's a man who told me that. These kinds of things I've heard. One of the things that I wanted to say about online dating is clearly people are going to be looking online for people who they find physically appealing, because that's what it is, right? Yes, you do read the profiles and so on. And some people may be looking for people who are wealthy or successful. Let me tell you what turns me off of online dating, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When I see specialized online dating for elite people with a net worth of over a certain amount, and I see, I shouldn't, it's not a judgment, it's not, but what are you looking for there? Are you looking for love? Is that
Vanity.
what you're looking for?
Vanity.
Okay, so
pure vanity.
So I guess I have those kinds of concerns. But really and truly, if you are a hermit and you're at home and you want to start back dating and you want genuine physical connection with someone, my suggestion would be that you first of all take the traits of yourself, get to know yourself better. All right. And when I say get to know yourself, what are you interested in? Are you interested in spirituality? Are you going to be okay to date someone who's not interested in spirituality? Okay? Are you interested in health? Do you work out? Will you be waking up one morning and your spouse is sleeping while you go to the gym every morning? These are the kinds of things that you pre-think, you think ahead and you say, okay, I need to I need to get an idea of what I like and what I want in a person, my needs, my wants, and you need to try to find somebody who will fulfill those needs and wants. And I suppose online dating, pretty much since it puts it out into a profile, you could see what you like about and what you don't like about that individual. So I suppose it's efficient, especially if you live in a really big country.
I like to call online dating the instant gratification way of doing inner work. Because if you put yourself up and you don't put any of the inner work into what's in your profile, what's going to come at you? Chaos.
Andrew, you know what we should do?
What?
We should actually provide a platform like that for people who want to date and who are not okay with being stalked and Yeah,
that's something we can put together, and we could have the audience be a part of the participation and the growing of the idea too.
Right, we should probably do that because I think it doesn't matter where you go to. You're going to run into, if you are someone who's a little bit aware or very aware, you're going to have issues where you're going to run into issues where people are not a match for you, but they might like the way you look, and they really don't care whether they're a match for you or not. Okay?
Exactly.
So
and this is
consciousness is a very important thing. We should have a consciousness platform.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think it's something, David, that might be good because you've got a law background, so you've done things like mock court before, and we can do mock dating court, where we can bring on some of the sexual blueprint healing people and show an actual interaction, and so people can learn from it. Okay?
Absolutely. We actually have an interview with Holly, and she mentioned some of that.
Yeah, we can do mock dating. Have random callers come together and mock date.
Oh, that's an interesting idea for sure. Oh my God, we are definitely doing this. So if you guys are out there in the audience, we're going to be putting that together for sure. We can have like a mock dating show. All right, we're going to get two people together who are interested, and we're going to like hash it out. They will be interrogated. There will be cross-examination. There will be everything to get to know each other. I love it. That's a very good idea, Andrew.
There'll be sidebars where coaches give advice before you go forward.
Yeah. One of our viewers, Teresa, says too many sexually transmitted diseases out there. That's hilarious, and you are so correct. All right, because the statistics are going up. So you need to be careful. Clearly, the statistics are going up. But I think far from sexually transmitted diseases, you will have people out there that will seriously poison your development and your consciousness. Okay, they will seriously poison. So forget about the sexually transmitted diseases. Okay, don't forget, but you know what I mean.
That's why this is mock dating.
Yes, this is mock dating. We're gonna run a scenario for you. So most of you who are single, some of you are married, you could also bring your husbands on and we will cross-examine them for you. Okay, because I'm legally trained. I will cross-examine them, and we can get some real answers and get down to the roots of a lot of problems that way. I always said, like, I think we had a joke, Andrew and I have this joke that someone should create a little EEG machine, an electroencephalogram, so that it saves time, right? So if you're going to go date, you meet your date and you say, put this on your head, okay? And you take your reading.
Their brainwave. Yep.
And you take a reading off of their brainwave, right? And you could see, well, yeah, we're not compatible, for sure not, right? And it will save you like hours of time, okay? Because you can see the frequency that they're running at in terms of how their brain fires and not fires, and what regions of their brain is firing and not firing. That's actually, you know what? I'm going to get myself an EEG machine. So,
well, we talked about that. We talked about that, David. So I think we'll have to incorporate the EEG machine in the mock dating court.
Yeah. Put it on it and a lie detector, and a lie detector, Strap them up.
Lie detector. Oh, we could revolutionize. We could
Can
make
you
a
imagine?
live radio, a live podcast, and reality show all in one.
Yeah, we can actually a lie detector and an EEG machine where you have to be clear. There's no choice in the matter, right? Actually,
Yeah.
there's no choice.
Well,
Yeah.
the cool thing
So
is because you're a hypnotist too, and David, cool thing is because you're a hypnotist too, there can be a pause moment where we can use hypnotic suggestions going forward also so that people can see how to make interchanges within themselves, because hypnotic suggestions you can do for yourself once you learn the techniques.
correct. And one of the hypnotic suggestions you out there should give yourself was, I am no longer ashamed of my body. I am in full command of my body. I am in full command of my sexuality. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I will attract to me that individual, whether it be man, woman, or somewhere in between, that will fulfill my desires. Okay? Do that thing. Do that thing every day. Wake up and attract that person who's going to make you happy. Don't spend the rest of your life in some place like a no. If you go, it probably you want to be a you want to abstain from sexual activity. Probably you do, probably you don't. But if you want to abstain from sexuality because of something that was done to you, or you have a negative idea of sex, then I urge you to reconsider and try that again.
Yeah. So
Okay.
David, how about we tell everyone how to get involved here? So right now we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch.tv, Periscope, and Twitter, or Twitter is Periscope. And I'm sorry, we're also on Zoom. Sorry, we're also on Zoom. So we are going to be taking callers here. So if you are in the Zoom room, and that is where we select callers from, so anyone else on any of the other platforms, all you have to do is go to andrewbartzis.com or unifiedhealthsystems.com and sign up for the email list, and then you will get information of how to access the Zoom room and be a part of the chat room that is here. So Robert, let's spin the wheel of callers and see what the Universal Citizens listening audience has brought to us.
Okay, we got
your online dating system.
Yes, I need to come up with some music for that, or at least sound effects.
You're the next contestant on Mock Dating Courts.
All right, Nina from Finland, or Nina Finland, you are unmuted with Andrew and David.
Nina,
Hello?
Are you there? Hi,
Hello?
where are you calling from, Nina?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, where are you calling from?
Finland. From Finland.
From Finland. Welcome to the show. What did you want to talk about today?
Well, sorry, the door just opened when the phone started, so I was distracted. Whew. Well, the topic is very interesting. It made me think about. I've been thinking, like, when was it that my vibe started going like lower? And I've been working on it with some issues with my womb. And
okay.
Yeah,
are you having pain? Are you having physical pain during intercourse?
No, I'm not. But I've had like horrible period pain since I was like 16 at least.
So you're having heavy menstruation.
Yeah, or like really painful ones, and I had a surgery.
Yeah, I get it.
For huge cysts in 2012, and
okay.
Yeah, the pains have come back, but the doctors didn't find anything.
It's quite possible that it's quite possible you still have scar tissue where the surgeries are. Have you done any kind of body work to release those areas, like yoga or anything else that might be able to stretch the fascia in there?
Yes, I do. I'm also starting to teach again, and I do yoga, and I feel like this yoni.
What kind of yoga do you do?
Working the best. It's called Shakta yoga. It's from
How long you been practicing
Kaula
for?
tradition. Well, this particular one for like more than a year, over a year, but yoga in general for many years.
Okay. During your yoga journeys, do you have any abdominal pains not during your menstruation time?
No, except last month when I decided to go to the hospital because I've had pains since some months now. So then I went. And then
have you noticed any diet changes recently, like a craving for sweets or sugars?
That comes and goes.
Is it really intense? Like when it comes like a really intense need?
Kind of, but I don't know. I wouldn't say like really intense.
Okay. Have you had anything else going on in your life? Any other like family issues?
Yes, many, a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, for years.
So right now your endocrine system is in chaos. And I use that term because it's generally organized chaos is the endocrine system. It's always in a process of creating this living equation to balance what's going on. And when it comes to your menstrual cycle, the endocrine system is not paying as much attention to its daily functions. And that is showing a split or a fracture in your energy fractal. So really, there's some emotional things that have been going on in a long time. And I want to bring David in here. David has been doing yoga for a very long time also. And a lot of times there are emotional releases that can be triggered in yoga poses. And he'll have a really incredible way of describing how to get some kind of somatic release out of a set of poses that can help release emotions.
Okay. So a viewer from Finland. How long have you been doing yoga totally, in total?
Well, in total, I don't know. I first started in the early 2000s, but since 2014, I would say.
Okay.
But
and,
yeah,
it's and been do like, any of these systems? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you can go ahead.
It's like I've been doing it more and more the past some years now, and now I found since 1.5 years ago I found the practice which I am now very much studying and starting to teach as well.
Okay, so you're a teacher, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What are the poses that you are currently using to alleviate your situation?
Sorry, what are the poses, did you say?
What poses are you using to currently alleviate your situation? What are the practices that you're using from Hatha Yoga?
In my practice, it's like a holistic practice. So you don't do one pose, but you always do like the whole practice, which is a balancing practice. And then there are like others, different ones that, for example, one where we bend forward, I guess I would say in English.
What's the name of the pose?
Like
do you know?
It's not a pose. It's like a series where we do like stretching of the legs before the balancing practice, and that is like a really strong, really emotional release. I've realized that I can really tap into the traumas in that one.
Okay, understood. I could probably give you a few suggestions there. First of all, you need to research a yoga exercise called Uddiyana Bandha. Jenny, you want to do some research for her? It's a bandha. Do you practice bandhas?
Yes, I do, but I haven't gone really deep with it yet. We would do it like almost every other day.
Okay.
When I get
Uddiyana Bandha is the one. It is indicated for what it is that you want to do. So I'm guessing that you don't do many inverted poses because of your condition. Am I correct?
I do all kinds. It's just when I'm on my first days of periods, I don't. But I do all kinds of poses.
You need to do Mulahadra Bandha. It's not a posture in and of itself, but it is a yogic exercise. And Uddiyana Bandha. Because what Andrew was discussing there was releasing and massaging the areas that you had that surgery. Okay? Some of the residual effects. Most people generally tend to think of surgery as, okay, I go have a surgery and then I recover. But a surgery is an invasive technique. And as a result of it, the body registers it as trauma. Your body got cut, it's going to register it as trauma, okay? And you need to probably process some of that stuff, okay? Mulahadra Bandha, Mula Bandha is probably, it's called root locking, okay?
Yes.
And you know what that is, right?
Yes, yes.
It's called root locking. Uddiyana Bandha is the solar plexus lock, and the reversion of the solar plexus lock. You know these things. So you probably need to get deeper into the bandhas because the exercises that you're doing, if you're doing flow or vinyasa exercises, and you're connecting the exercises together, you're going to be experiencing the traumas and so on. But you want to, for want of a better word, I'm going to use a better word, this geolocate a particular pain that you want to deal with, okay? I assume that you're doing some form of kriya of some kind, am I correct? You're doing purification exercises at all?
Yes, I am. Well, I'm not sure which kind of you mean, but...
Okay, so if you are, Jenny just dropped the name down there, but my suggestion would be to keep your system as clean as possible. In terms of nutrition, or holistic remedies that are outside, indicated herb for what you are experiencing is something called chasteberry. It seems to have worked wonders so much that they're now putting it into traditional medicine supplements and stuff like that. Traditional medicine. Chasteberry is the indicated herb for what you are experiencing. But in terms of releasing some of the trauma inside the womb area, between Uddiyana Bandha and the Mula Bandha, you might get the results that you're looking for. I would highly recommend it. I would highly recommend it for anybody, any woman who's doing yoga. You need to practice these exercises. I need to probably elaborate on what these exercises are. Root locking is when you use the sphincters, because your anal sphincter and the sphincter that controls your reproductive system, they are located and they're connected to each other. For those of you who doubt what I'm saying, when you go to the bathroom to defecate, the release of that sphincter also releases your reflex to urinate as well, okay? So they're connected. So what Mula Bandha does, it creates control over those sphincters by asking you to tense and release them. Now, I know you're thinking, what's the point of that? The point of that is if you have control over your sphincters, the world is your oyster, really, in terms of the sexual function and the reproductive function. You know how to release that sphincter at will, and you know how to tighten that sphincter at will, okay? Now, apart from the sexual application, forget about the sexual application, because that's one of the core exercises in Tantric Yoga. It also has other functions. For you, what it will do is give you access to your internal system, your internal reproductive system. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You don't need to practice it for very long. These two exercises give you control over your abdominal walls, your pelvic floor, and all the sphincters that are inside of there. And you need to practice them. I think everybody in the world should practice those exercises, because if you don't have control over these sphincters, you lay yourself open to all sorts of things. Let's deal with the number of things that you can alleviate by gaining control over these sphincters. Premature ejaculation. not to be lack of sensitivity, women, lack of sensitivity, okay? That's a problem. So for the women who are listening to, yes, it's akin to Kegels, it is. But what Kegels is supposed to have done is give you control over not only the centers, but also control over your internal system. And once you have command or mastery over that, you could avoid a lot of things. You may not be able to avoid a cyst growing, but you can certainly control the effects of the cyst on your system if you have control over these muscles and your abdominal wall, your floor, and whatever else. So you want to alleviate some of your pain, and you don't want to be taking stuff like Baralgin or whatever the doctor prescribed for you. Please gain control of these muscles. They are part of you. And like anything else, if you go working out in the gym and you don't work out the internal system, the breathing system, and so on, you are still unfit. No matter how good you look, you're still going to be unfit because your internal system is not fit. So my suggestion to you is that you get yourself chasteberry supplement. You can get that in tincture form. That thing has performed miracles for women all over the world. You can Google it when I get off the line with you. I suggest that you do it. It's indicated for the issues that you've just described. But in terms of the manual practice, Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha are definitely the exercises that you should be going to right now.
Okay, thank you so much. Can I ask
Do you
about
have any other questions? No,
Yes.
please, go ahead.
Can I ask about the family thing?
Go ahead.
Andrew was telling me.
Sure.
Yeah, so part of your menstrual issue is you have a lot of undealt with family issues.
Yes.
So is it fair to say your mom is very controlling of you and you have a lot of controlling environments and you are always in resistance to them, and every now and then the rebel comes up and the middle finger comes out and you storm off?
Yes. Unfortunately, yes.
That is a rage inside you because of the amount of control that's inside. Okay? So what is it that you can do to gain your own independence and your own sovereignty? Just like David was describing in the yoga techniques for you, you also have to do the same thing in your daily physical social life. There are some parents you'll never get through to, and it's not acquiescing to what they want. It's not allowing their energy to affect you. Much like alcohol, it's not how much you drink, it's what it does to you. And oftentimes, one little ounce of mom energy that's too much, it throws you over, and like in a drunken state, things just come out and you go into this rebel mode. And what you end up doing is you have this little garden of things you've been preparing, and then one day you stamp it all down and you got to plant new seeds all the time. Or this is what's being done to you over and over again. You have all this goodwill and they trample over it left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do you live at home?
I'm 35. I live with my partner, and a few hundred kilometers away from my mom. So,
but it's still the energy feels like she's in your space though.
I know she is like on my WhatsApp like 24/7, and I've had to.
So why have you allowed it to grow into a codependent relationship?
She has a lot of, it's like I've always been her only one since I've been able to talk. So she's in a foreign country, and I was the only one. So that's how she made it when I was little, and then now when the past some years now I've been trying to make more and more boundaries, and it's been better, but it's like an ongoing struggle and battle.
So you have to have a process and a journey solely for yourself, which is, we'll simply call it a removing of the dirty energy. There were many times where your mother stepped forward and did things that you didn't want her to do. Fair to say?
Yeah. Well,
that is allowing her energy to overwhelm yours. And as a spiritual practice of hygiene, you have to say to your mother's energy, this energy that is here to divest my light I'm giving it back to you for you to use in other projects as part of my journey of being sovereign in myself. This is a prayer process that you can incorporate with your yoga journeys too.
Mm.
Okay, a journey into forgiving the energy out. Okay, oftentimes, many ancient indigenous cultures, when women would have their menstrual cycle, they would call it the moon time, or they'd go into the moon lodge. And this is the time where you are to be recalling your energies. It's the few days a month where you should be being super spiritual and using all your spiritual techniques to recall the monthly journey that you've had between menstrual cycles. Because menstrual cycles are there to help you process the unseen world just as much as they're to help your physical body go through X number of changes before you have birth or you don't have birth. It's not just part of the biological makeup. So you can use that time for your magical journeys inwards, a recalling of the energy, the putting out of your physical and moral authority to be in your body, and then I'll let others' energy just kick you out of your choices.
Yeah, that's what I was just doing just before the show, and I've started doing this light language, and recently there's been some, I don't know, I've been working on my heart area with it.
So how long have you been with your partner? How long have you been with this partner for?
Well, for 7 years in total, but we've been on and off, so for 2 years now. Like,
okay, has your intimacy changed a lot in the last couple months?
it's been, I think, closer.
All right. So there's a depression in your voice, and it's coming out as a restriction. And part of you is not really, I'm just going to say, delve deeply into your sensual nature. Sexual journeys are different. Your sensual nature of how a touch can be erotic, but not meant to make a sexual release. It's something that's meant to build days and days in a row within a person. It's storing that unlimited energy. And I would really recommend that you relearn how to intimately touch without a sexual nature, but that pure love behind it. There's a disconnect between your higher spirits and how it flows right into the heart through the tips of your fingers. So I think this is something you picked up from your mother as a sexual dysfunction, because you were a very powerful empath as a little kid, and like a sponge, you picked up on your mother's sexual idiosyncrasy. Okay? I know it's hard to talk about your mother, and you have to realize she was a woman before she had children. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? She had her time
really
being a woman. Right. Okay? She had her time before she got married, and that included creating some traumas within herself that have now reflected in you. Okay?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of that.
So I want to bring David in here. And maybe he can help you break down some of these things that you've absorbed from your mother.
Okay. How would you describe your mother in 4 words? 4 words. You only get 4.
Oh, it's difficult when it's a different language.
No, it's okay.
4 words. Oh, sorry. Loud.
Domineering is what you want to say?
Yes.
Domineering, go ahead.
What's that word when you wish good, but it ends up something else, maybe?
When you wish good? You mean when she has good intent?
Have like good intent.
When you have good intent, yes.
But then it turns
negative
chaotic.
Results, yes.
Yeah.
And what's the 4th one?
Like sunshine.
Sunshine? You mean like
innocent.
Okay. So your mother is loud, domineering, has good intentions, but she's like sunshine. Okay,
Like an innocent child.
like an innocent child. So your mother's very traditional, isn't she?
In
I,
her own way, yeah.
she's not a very open person, is she?
She is kind of, yeah, but she has her
When
like
you were growing, go ahead.
blockages.
When you
Yeah,
were growing up,
it comes from, yeah.
when you were growing up, did you see your mother kissing your dad, hugging him?
I think I did, but it's more like they had such a weird relationship. It's like
Do you
complex
think you might have?
beyond.
May I ask you a question? Are you shy and timid?
I am and then not, because I perform and stuff like that, but then physically or like with friends or it's hard for me to be close with friends who are not my boyfriend physically.
Why do you think that is?
That is definitely from my parents.
Okay. And do you think that's something that you might want to work on?
Yeah, I am trying.
Do you
to
touch
work on
people?
it.
How are you with regard to touch? When people touch you, tell me, how do you feel?
I sometimes find myself going like moving away, like going away further, I mean.
So you flinch when people touch you?
Yeah, sometimes, not always. But
Why is that?
I'm always shocked when I do that. I really think it's either from some, I don't know if there was some molestation going on, but I'm sure that my that it was weird with my mom, like being when I was her only, friend and everything, and then she was like clinging to me. So I think that is one of them.
Okay. So your mother, I'm going to be very direct with you. Your mother has been feeding off of your essential energy for a very long time. A mother should be a mother and not a friend. The two things are separate. Let me rephrase that. Your mother should also be your friend, but primarily her function is to nurture. Okay? Primarily. Okay? If your mother had you as a friend, then you're getting two different conflicting energies running there. Also, your mother seems to have transmitted to you a number of things which you probably need to deal with. Okay? If I'm not mistaken, her relationship with her spouse was less than ideal. Am I correct?
Yeah, horrible.
Okay. So my suggestion to you is that you first of all accept that you have some stuff going on with you, because I could hear it in your voice. There's a timidity in your voice, a wariness, which is always there. It's been there since this call started. Okay? There's a wariness in your voice. And the world is a very big and open place if you are an open person. So I don't know what the relationship is between you and your partner at this particular point in time, but I'm guessing you are facing challenges with intimacy. Would that be correct? You, and I don't mean y'all, you.
Yes, I am.
You have difficulty opening up, don't you?
Yeah, very much.
So let me ask you a very direct question. Can you see yourself seeing God through your own sexuality? That's a very direct question, isn't it? Can you see yourself seeing God through your sexuality, your sensuality?
I never used to until I had this ceremony with myself where I did this. It was a few years ago, and I said to myself that I'm ready to start walking my own path, my soul path, and And one of the things that happened, it was that it felt sexual, and it was a very, very strong, like maybe something that people talk about, Kundalini activation. I don't call it that, but that was a part
Was
of
it
it.
pleasant?
And yes, very pleasant. Yeah, it's like, yeah. And there was also the light language started happening then, and it's been coming through ever since. And then another time was 2 years ago when I was like on my own for a while, and I wanted to clear myself, and I was going through a ceremony of being enough for myself. Like, I realized that I've always given the love that I wanted to give myself. I was giving it away. So I had kind of a ceremony on myself then, and that was very to my surprise, it felt like very sexual as well. So in that way, I can see the answer is yes, but otherwise I don't think about it that way. I haven't thought about it.
Oh, well, that's going to change. Here's what's going to happen. Before I say that, before I suggest anything, how is your partner coping with all of this? How is he?
Well, it's been like a crazy ride. At the moment, he's very stressed, like overstressed.
Okay.
Hey David, we gotta move on to the next caller.
Okay. All right, let me just wrap this up. So my suggestion would be for you, first of all, is it possible that you can think about sexuality and your sexuality a lot, your intimacy issues. Do not wait for your partner to initiate intimacy. You do it. This is my homework for you for the next week. You are going to initiate intimacy with your partner. I don't mean just sexuality. I mean touch, cuddling, holding. Can you do that for me?
Sure.
Yeah, and get back to us and let us know how that goes.
Yeah, call back in next week. Okay? All right, thank you
so much.
All right, you're welcome. You've been a great teacher to a lot of people. All right, Robert, let's spin the wheel of callers and see who's next.
Okay, our next caller is going to be Kali Ray. Kali, you are unmuted with Andrew and David.
Kali, how you doing today?
Hi. Good.
How you doing?
Are you?
How you been?
Can you hear me?
Good. Yes, I can. What did you want to talk about? Great. What did you want to talk about today?
Well, I figured I easily piggyback off of the last caller with my own experiences. And sorry, I've been physically, I'm walking right now and my phone's about to die, so have to excuse my short of breathness. Sure. But I too had pain in that area. I had very painful menses and just a lot of issues. And I spoke to Andrew a few years ago, and he shared with me that I really needed to work on my ancestral karma. And I took that very seriously, and I actually found this amazing system called inherited family trauma or family constellation therapy. And I was able to actually take my mom to one of these events. And during the event, Mark, the person who created this system, was able to work with both of us. And he very clearly connected my mysterious pain with the codependent relationship with my mother and me being kind of her her parent. I'm sorry, her being mine. And me and my mom were very close. And I've always been very good at separating myself from her. When I was 15, I pretty much left home and just went out and did my own thing, for better or worse. And really cut off those ties with my parents for a good 5 years, and went and found my own way. And, you know, the ancestral karma still follows you around. So I was starting to recognize the inherited family trauma, both in my female lineage was the strongest, most overbearing one that I was really dealing with. I'm an only child as well. And I'm the firstborn daughter of a firstborn daughter of a firstborn daughter, as far back as I know, up until my Native American lineage doesn't leave records for me to know more. And
it doesn't. There's no more proof than that right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And the trauma was there 7 generations ago. You know, it's been a very psychic thing for me. I've been, you know, pretty much in communication, maybe not verbal communication, or it's not like they speak to me in words. But my ancestors have communicated strongly to me the amount of trauma and what the indigenous people lost, and how my bloodline carries a piece of it still, even though I'm very white. And, you know, my dad's Italian, European, Irish, Scottish. Actually, yeah, Irish, Scottish, and Italian. And then my mom is also, this is where it gets interesting, I think. My mom is an incest survivor. And so I was imprinted at a very young age with sexuality being something that can be traumatic and violent. And as I grew older, I started, and this is something that I've recently, I've been married for over 10 years, and it wasn't until last year that me and my husband, I finally was able to verbalize that I for some reason, my body is responds to pain and a certain amount of dominance. And I really had a lot of judgment about it for many years, and didn't allow myself to experience those feelings, because, you know, in our media, it's just everything in the media about that kind of, you know, S&M and all that. It didn't like, I don't know how to describe it, but it wasn't the frequency. There was something inside of it my body would respond to, but the whole frequency of the media and the contortionist of it, I knew to stay away from it. And I needed to find like a pure expression of what that was meaning for me. And I know it has something to do with past lives, I felt like, and I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I really...
No, it still comes down to what's passed down. Now, your male side has also passed down something to you. Now, the males over the many years had to go to war and come back and had to breed, but never had a mental healing. So they would pass on the non-mental healing to the women, which means there's an aggression factor. And, you know, ironically, David and I had an interesting conversation about pain with a loving touch behind it. Okay, and I got David to come to time up, and ultimately you were still looking for something that can satisfy the lineage's input, that is a subtle imprint in your sexuality, making it more adrenal sex, carnal, versus more spiritual exchange. David, you want to add something?
Yes. I'd like to add a lot. Callie, are you the individual who's doing who's doing cannabis products?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I remember you. So how's that going? You know, I wanted to hear back from you. So how's that going?
Actually, fabulously. After I talked to you guys, I told my mom what I had spoken to you about, and kind of really, you know, bared my heart with her in terms of how much I really did feel committed to this dream that we've always had. I mean, it's actually been a family dream of ours since I was 12 to own a farm and to, you know, make plant products. And so we did, I talked to her, and I'm supposed to pick up, I didn't have a still. I've made the essential oil here at my house, but basically all the steps that we needed to move forward with, start forward. And it's a long-term process, but it's amazingly just, I feel such a connection, and that this is absolutely supposed to do with my...
Okay. So getting back to what you were saying earlier on, you should not have judgment on how your body chooses to experience pleasure and
what
pain.
about?
Can you hear me? Kelly,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
I can. So I guess it, and it doesn't come from my parents either. It's my own, like, I feel like, it should be a spiritual thing. And like Andrew said, it's like, how is it a spiritual thing?
How do you know? Can I ask you a question, Kelly? Actually, let's just do a little pop quiz. It's going to take like 10 seconds. When I say something, tell me whether it's spiritual or not. Okay? Shall we? You ready? War.
Oh, you broke up there a little bit.
War. Is it spiritual or not?
Oh, well, yeah, of course, everything is spiritual. I understand.
So your point, thank you for clarifying that for me. Okay, so you do know that S&M and dominatrix activities help a lot of people, right? It's actually part of a sexual healing. You need to watch that series that we are putting out, Sexual Healing. It's actually part of sexual healing. Okay, it is. It is. So if your body experiences pain, and there's a fine line between pain and pleasure, there's always the concept of too far east is west. Okay? You shouldn't necessarily have a judgment on that. It's what your body wants, it's what your body prefers, and you should give into that thing and work with your body. Just because somebody's all tied up and there's a flogger in the mix, doesn't mean that it's any less spiritual than somebody at the top of a hill on the bended knee.
I never thought of myself as a repressed person, so it's interesting to find that there are areas.
I think people have ideas of what spirituality is. Sorry. I think people, let me just turn off my video and that might help the whole bandwidth situation.
David, your video was off.
Okay. I think people have ideas of what spirituality is, and it's often a lot of propaganda because they tend to think of spirituality as this salubrious environment with incense and so on. And I'm going to tell you that that doesn't necessarily pan out as true, right? Spirituality and sexuality are inextricably linked, okay? I want to acquaint you with a very old saying, and I'm going to say it in Latin first of all and translate it into English. Are you still there, Callie?
Yes, I am.
The saying goes, essentia in contra sua. It means the essence of a thing is in its opposite. The essence of anything is in its opposite. The essence of pleasure is in pain. The essence of pain is in pleasure. Okay? For those of you who doubt what it is that I'm saying, have you ever come so hard or had an orgasm so hard that it hurt? Yes. The essence of one thing is in another. Okay? And Callie, with regard to what you are describing there should be no judgment necessarily with regard to how your body chooses to experience its pleasure. You may be at a threshold of something that a lot of us are not at. Okay? So if your husband really loves you and so on, he needs to explore that with you, because then you could bring him to a space that he probably would not have been before. So just off the top of my head, the space that you are operating in is something called subspace. Okay? In the dominatrix world, that means submissive space. Okay? And you need your husband to go there with you. You need him to go there with you because that's what your body wants and that's where you're going. Okay? Follow the trail of breadcrumbs to finding who you really are. Follow the trail of breadcrumbs. I need a little bit of pain. I need a little bit of domination. Let me follow that trail to where I can find what the actualization of my sexuality is. Okay? And don't try to be like Tiffany down the road who needs flowers, candies, and a dinner. Okay?
Okay.
Okay? Tiffany has her own thing going on. You have your own thing going on. Right? So go out, buy the flogger, get some rope, learn how to be submissive. Learn how to be submissive and let him learn that thing. Yes, he might think you're a bit kinky.
Yeah, we've been doing it. I've been it was interesting because we had the conversation, and we both had experiences before we met each other where we knew it was a part of our sexuality. And it was almost like, I mean, I think in some ways we had, it was like in our relationship to just do other things. We had kids, we had to pay attention to work, and we just didn't have the space to explore that. But, you know, we have been, and it's been really, really amazing. And to find out that, you know, he had his own kind of extreme experiences that had also made him somewhat leery of, you know, it had kind of been a turnoff in some ways. And so it was healing for him. It's been really healing for him as well.
Excellent. That's good. So I would suggest that you go out and get yourself the best flogger, with my blessings, of course. Go out and get yourself the best flogger, and yeah, enjoy that, because it's going to make you a lot more happy than, you know, following Tiffany's lead down the road with the incense.
Yeah, don't follow Tiffany. Those damn Tiffany's are taking over the world.
All right, I discovered.
Ray,
Go ahead.
Have you explored in using any of the CBD compounds for sexual stimulation, or THC compounds?
Not I've thought about it. I haven't actually done CBDs specifically. There's a lot of, because I'm in the industry, I am aware of quite a few really amazing, cool new products that people are using. And my mom actually, she tried some and said there's like some really amazing lube that actually heightens stimulation. But at the time I was like, I don't need any heightened stimulation. I was kind of going through like a whole Kundalini.
It's not about heightened stimulation. The CBD helps heal scar tissue.
Oh, of course.
And bring sensitivity back. So using it on a regular basis is not just to keep the area in a healing format. It returns some of the sensitivity back. Because just like the tip of our tongue, you have all these receptors that are all throughout the inside of the whole vulva area. And using those right combination CBD and keeping it moisturized, but not creating an environment for any type of yeast to be formed, you can have a very powerful healing solution that, when combined with sexuality, it can greatly increase the sensitivity journey, because a lot of people have lost sensitivity over time.
That's so interesting, because my mom, that's what she does. She does CBD creams and THC creams and whole plant medicine creams as her whole thing. And, you know, she's really, that's kind of been her focus, healing, being an incest survivor and having the history that she does. Sexual healing is something that's, you know, she's been working on her whole life. And that I can definitely see what's...
One of the Moon Lodge ceremonies that's common to many indigenous cultures, this is not just any individuals, many of them, when it's time for a woman to have her menstrual cycle, even if her menstrual cycle is over, you still have a passive process there, where you put like a poultice style, a series of herbs and stuff that is designed to energetically and physically start pulling things out of the womb area. And you would use this during your bleeding time. And then that is what you would give away to the fire. This is another ancestral journey into being a woman itself. Okay? Men have a different journey of recovering this energy. So during that menstrual cycle time, you can create something that looks like I call it a medicine diaper. It's really there to just hold the herbs, the incense, the oils, the stuff that you want to bring that energy there, because the body will absorb it rapidly, and as the blood lets out, it acts as a physical poultice and an energy poultice. And then at the end of that, you offer that to a sacred fire with prayers, so that the next menstrual cycle you have, you're going to be doing the same thing as a part of recalling the greater you, so that you can discover the greater you sensually, sexually, and through the experience of recalling your energies, so you're not repeating every menstrual cycle lessons and lessons and lessons.
I'm going to do that. That sounds really powerful.
Okay, I understand before you had some really heavy bleeding. Is that what it was?
Not so much. Well, when I first got my periods as a child, yes. But more just irregular and painful and very irregular, which I'm still dealing with. I think I still have some endocrine.
Is the pain near your pubic bone or more inside deeper?
Well, the pain's actually been almost completely gone. It started lessening after I did the family constellation work with my mom.
Healing with your mother, yes. Yeah.
So
when it was there, it was where your ovary was. Yeah, that's common. Now, much like the other caller, the trauma is still there. The body hasn't fully healed from it. Part of the letting go was to acknowledge that there was something there in the healing. And the final part is actually doing a regular journey and daily practice so that a void space isn't created a month or 2 months from now. You've cleared it out. Now you've got to fill it up with a new kind of imagery and light. And that's where this medicine diaper process can be very beneficial to those that can put the time, effort, focus, courage, and commitment into every month, those few days during your period. You are in your ceremonial space, recalling your energy and doing those rituals of self-healing and recovering and allowing yourself to be emotional, psychic, empathic, and all those other things. And a lot of times there are women who get very sexual during their period. Having your moon time and having somebody special can be powerful alchemy.
It's gotten really good when I'm on my period, I have to say.
It's powerful alchemy. Okay?
Yeah.
Get red sheets.
Yeah. It's definitely, my husband, definitely noticed. He gets excited. But yeah, it's amazing. I felt, it's interesting. Every time I've gotten to talk to you, I've felt it before it was about to happen. And there's so many things I always want to ask you, but I try and stay on topic on what it seems like the universe is trying to point out at this, conjuncture. So
sometimes the universe is constipated.
Indeed.
And it's sitting on the pot and it's trying to figure out if it's going to get up or let a load out. And it's like, you got free will, don't you? And then it's up to us.
Yeah, I work with astrology, and the whole free will thing is, I really see everything in the chart as something that is an opportunity for transformation with those energies rather than some sort of fated event that's going to happen. So,
well, at any moment, there's an infinite amount of choices that can be made, and one does not need astrology to get into that. So when it comes to astrology, I believe more in the person than the system, because it's the person making a pattern recognition in a language that we can connect to, whether it's charge and polarity or not. It's still a signature frequency match for the now, as somebody teaching or giving something that can greatly influence somebody over the years. I can't tell you how many callers call and, a psychic reading they had 25 years ago, still driving them forward to look for something they've never found.
Yeah, and I really, I actually didn't care for astrology for years for that reason. And it, just like you said, I actually found a person who was practicing this Atlantean astrology, which is he doesn't even have the same planetary to sign correlations, which is just hearsay for most astrologers. And I love it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a Libra and Mars is my planet. That feels right to me. I don't need to be stuck Venus and this loving, flowing, I feel like, astrology is really stuck in the dark ages. And it's one of the reasons I was drawn to the person I was drawn with, because I am drawn to the planets and the patterns. And I find the energies and the patterns and the archetypes fascinating and definitely inspiring. But yeah, I don't I think there's a lot to be wary of. And I've never even had a psychic reading because I didn't trust anybody enough with that. But thank you so much for your advice. And I love getting to talk to you guys. I feel so blessed.
All right.
You're welcome,
Thanks so much.
Gallery.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yes. And keep us informed how it goes, the business goes with your mother.
I will. I'll be back.
All right. Take it easy. Have a good one. David, we get some interesting callers, don't we?
Yes, we do. I wonder how Gallery's business is going. Gallery, if you need any more advice, you can just simply email us at info@unifiedsystems.com, okay? Okay.
All right, Robert, let's spin that wheel of callers and see what the universe provides us.
Alrighty, our next caller will be Matthew. Matthew, you are on with the guys.
Matthew, are you there? Matthew.
It's a slow unmute.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Yes.
Hey,
We
Matthew.
can hear you.
How you doing?
Hey, it's Matthew, charismatic from Indianapolis. We had a couple of sessions before, I think you might remember. I have a question, and I'm sorry.
Where are you calling from today?
Indianapolis.
Minneapolis. Welcome to the show. Let's go. What do you want to talk about today?
No, we've had a couple sessions and whatnot. I kind of feel like Thursdays are a little less esoteric than Tuesday, but I do have a question about Reiki and a recent reading. That's okay?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I know you and David are both Reiki masters and experienced in that field, but I kind of had one recently, and I made the mistake of saying what I might think will be found, and it was found, and I'm not sure if it's something that I should believe or not. It was like an auric reading. Is that even Reiki?
Auric reading is not part of the system. It's not part of the system,
No.
but go ahead.
Yeah, that's how I was thinking. So more than that than anything, I just kind of wanted to hear that out because I was told of blockages and whatnot, and I didn't feel like it was a real good reading. And I just wanted to scan. I didn't really get any healing and whatnot, so it didn't seem like Reiki. And that's pretty much all I had on that topic. So that's pretty much it.
Well, Reiki is a very specific journey where there's a certain amount of hand positions that go all the different parts of the body and create a washing frequency. Did they put you on a massage table, or did they just do a session with you?
I actually had it in a MySpace, which was on I have a marble table. It's a really big marble table. And if that's another thing, like she saged, but after she was done saging, I was like, just as a matter of housekeeping, and let you know that I opened the garage door and let it out. I didn't like the fact that she didn't even consider that. I mean, that's kind of a central part of my understanding, right? So.
Not always. Everyone sages a little different.
Okay.
So I have this product here that I probably would like to show. This is juniper sage in a spray bottle.
Okay.
All right. You will notice that there's no smoke anywhere. Right. So my suggestion to you, I suppose my advice, I suppose I have a few questions. So why did you engage a Reiki healer in the first place?
Oh, it's actually a friend, and I don't really get acquainted with very many people. I'm I guess hermit archetype, so to speak, or whatnot. But I trust her or whatnot. And I know the intention was well, but I really just kind of wanted to scan to see, kind of because I felt like I have some blockages and whatnot, and I kind of felt like they might be intentional for a good reason, so to speak, like some type of like maybe soul family lineage or holding DNA space or something. But I wish I wouldn't have told her, what she might find in the first place, because I kind of feel like it kind of like determined what was going to happen. And so she gave the hands above the body type thing, like on my back, and showed me how far my energy field released and whatnot. But I never really, I kind of felt some energy, but I didn't feel like it was a really good scan, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so let me be very clear with you. Okay, this may be one of three things. Okay, there are two traditions of Reiki. One is Takata and one is Usui. Usui was the original system. Okay, Takata tradition is still Reiki, but not the same lineage, so to speak. Well, I suppose all come from the same lineage because Dr. Usui was the founder of Reiki. But the point I wanted to make to you is that people generally blend Reiki with a number of things. Okay, the system by itself, Reiki means universal energy. The system by itself basically is the uses of hand positions, and at higher levels, they become more sublime. So the first degree of Reiki uses hand positions solely. The second degree uses symbols and stuff like that. And at master level you're dealing with attunements and so on. From what you are describing, the individual may be utilizing clairvoyancy or some psychic path to, I don't know, augment their Reiki practice. That may not be advised. If the person, I don't know what level of Reiki the person is at. They're probably using some other system to augment it. And that's fine because Reiki is adaptable or whatever else. But I would, what if you wanted Reiki specifically for Reiki at itself, you should probably have just indicated to the individual, but the individual should not assume that you want anything else. What did you say to the individual that you engaged?
Yeah, I literally said I'm really just kind of want to scan to kind of get like maybe like a report card, so to speak. I mean, I'm not able to see auras or whatnot, but I am very empathic and whatnot. So I kind of just wanted to get a view from someone I trusted, and I think I kind of like I maybe sabotaged it a little bit by kind of like, you know, like I said, expressing what I think will be found, you know, so to speak. But there were no symbols used. There were no. I spoke about the timeline and whatnot, you know, sending healing to yourself in the future and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And she didn't do that. So that wasn't part of that. So, which is okay because really I just wanted some type of, basically like a reading, so to speak, like a scan. I call it a scan. So, but the results of the scan, I felt like maybe didn't seem, you know, right. Does that make sense a little bit? Kind of like.
Yes, it makes sense. Then you wanted somebody to do you wanted a clairvoyant. You didn't necessarily want a Reiki. Reiki specifically meant for healing on the psycho-emotional and psycho-spiritual levels. Okay, so it's not necessarily meant for what you. There's an aspect of Reiki where the individual learns discernment of certain processes of other people's bodies by practice. But what you needed was probably a clairvoyant or medical intuitive or a psycho-emotional, a psychic, basically.
I was able to get, you know, she did scan the organs and whatnot, and, you know, reading on the kidneys and liver and those types of things. But when she was reading the heart area, she said she doesn't feel anything there. And I thought that was interesting because I said, I think I feel like I have a left side blockage, so to speak. So that didn't seem right to me. I mean, my heart was beating, I'm alive, I am fully organic. So, but I thought that was kind of interesting. And from there, I was kind of like, well, okay. So I'm not like completely discounting. I just wanted to see how familiar this or how unusual this would sound, since you guys have done so many you know, examinations or readings and whatnot. So.
Well, coming to our retreat October 11th to the 14th would be a great way for you to unlock a lot of those blockages. You'll be able to work direct with Chris, direct with David, and you'll be able to have a lot of other experiences along with the technologies that we provide, such as the Lucia lights, and you'll be able to greatly delve into that.
That's actually a very good suggestion you just made, the Lucia lights. Well, you don't need a clairvoyant if you're underneath that light. That light will show you everything that is pertaining to you. That light will show you everything. I have actually been quite impressed. I have experimented with a lot of technologies over the years. And it's very hard to impress me, but that light would probably be indicated for him. You're not going to need a reading after that. You're just not.
I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna head off. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for that.
Okay, no problem.
Right. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for calling in. All right, Robert, let's spin the wheel of caller and do one more.
Alrighty, our next caller will be Nicole Baron. You are unmuted with the guys.
Nicole, are you there?
Hello?
Yes.
Hello, Nicole. Where are you calling from today?
Wow, it's an honor. I'm calling from Switzerland.
Wow.
Switzerland, welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, first of all, I want to say you guys are just awesome. You've inspired me, Andrew, since quite a while. And what would I want to talk today? Life is precious. That's what I'm going to say. And what is your opinion on that, about life itself, us as human beings now on this earth, and what we are to bring about to this beautiful planet we live in?
How much time do you have? How much time do you have? Because that's a broad question. Okay, I could summarize that one for you. Life, literally is for living in terms of what we intend to bring about. We are all on the path to becoming completely self-aware, not as individuals alone, but as a unit. We are a complete unit. I just summarize that for that. And we're a unit not only with each other, we're also a unit with the planet and every atomic structure that there is in the universe. Summarized. Ta-da!
Well, I'm gonna present something. I'm gonna present something a little different. There is life is precious and life is my precious.
God.
Right on.
And it is perspective. It is precious. Okay? And that's the difference between zealotry and moderation. Even moderation needs moderation. Okay? So we need things in our life that drive forward our ability to learn, live, love, and experience. So sometimes we have to have precious life, and other times we need precious life. And sometimes you, like the other caller, you need precious life with a whip. Whether it's a giddy on up and get going metaphysically, or the actual flog. There are those that are in that scenario. Now, we're also at a point where so much stuff is in flux, not change. And the word flux I will expand upon, meaning it's going from one perception to another, and the energy can change, or the energy doesn't necessarily change, but the cause and effects do. And when things are in flux, especially our, let's say, political world that is driving forth many of the sleepers, and we are the awakened here, and guess what? Our sleepers, everyone around us, are a toxic mess. If you're living in London right now, Boris Johnson's a disgrace to the party. If you're in the United States, it's Trump. In Canada, it's Trudeau. All of the different, in Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, they're all getting reelected now. And it's all those people that we inadvertently want to save out of our own growth and individuality and spirituality and consciousness. We can't help them. We can't help them. There's so much divisive charge and polarity in the media. All we can do is separate it and find our matches, such as when you found the material here and that it inspired you on the journey. Okay? What was it about the material that inspired you?
I would say when you had your awakening, my awakening was about more or less the same age as yours. And knowing that everything was moving, living, acting, reacting to what we would be feeling was something just extraordinary to understand and then observe. Because I was, for example, I was a child that was very much connected to the animal kingdom, more animals than humans, already at birth. And observing, that evolution, so-called evolution of human species, hasn't really gone very far up to now. We're into the tech, right? And like you guys were saying, there the politics, but that's something maybe we've always had, and now we're just putting interpretation into it with domination, control, manipulation. And it's this trinity we need to also deal with and make a choice, right?
Agreed. what is your impression of how things develop? You see, the East Indians had a concept of something called the drama cycle. It went from a golden age where everybody was at one and people saw each other as part of each other, and the silver age when the beginning of difference, and then the copper age where people started raising religions and fighting against each other. And according to East Indian philosophy, we are in Kali Yuga, the age of fighting, where it reaches a pinnacle. Well, it seems to be reaching a pinnacle. So I'm going to get your feedback first of all. If we are in Kali Yuga, do you think something good will come out of all of this?
There's always good.
Mm-hmm. Do you think something universally good will come out of all of this?
As you guys say, it's a choice. So
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is a choice.
Mm.
It is a choice, and everyone has is a conscious being with choice.
Mm.
And together as a unit, we form a conscious entity. Okay, and we are making choices right as we speak. So my question to you, what is your choices? What are your choices? What are your choices?
Mm-hmm. Well, gathering the hearts all together as one, and being the universal energy that we've always been, because our hearts are really the truth to the human function. Like I was saying, action, reaction, and evolution in the future to come. That's what makes us different from the tech, robots, AIs, which are created, as you guys know. So truth comes from the heart.
Everything, you cannot create something that you are not. So all of these things are manifestations of parts of ourselves that we have lost connection with. We just simply create them outside. Our ability to communicate with each other over far distances has been created outside. We rely on the tech, okay? We rely on the tech. Our ability to, communicate and draw information from the universe has been created, right? To download information has been created outside. We call it the internet. These are manifestations of parts of ourselves outside. Now, do you think that there will be a time where we will return to ourselves?
Again, it's the choice we are connected or disconnected to. That I think I would say everything is possible. All is good.
Yes, and that's what flux is. The constant mixture of possibilities and variabilities. Okay. We're going to get into a conversation on quantum physics, and we're going to be here for the rest of the day. We are going to be here for the rest of the day. But yes, I do understand what it is that you're saying in terms of the philosophical aspect, in terms of the practical aspect, to be able to maintain that high view of what is happening is a challenge. It's also a choice. Okay. And actually, I want to say this to the audience. If all of us could maintain that high view for like one day, see the change in your life. Okay. Sure. That high view of seeing everything from a position of possibilities and anti-possibilities and all the potentialities and the variabilities of life. Remove yourselves from the ground. Be in the air and look at the space around you. Okay. And yeah, try that for one day. One of two things are going to happen. You might become very antisocial really quickly, or people will perceive you as antisocial, or you might actually make a fundamental shift in your consciousness if you try it for one day. Okay? So I really want to thank you for bringing this up, because we don't have these discussions often on the show, but I will really appreciate that you've come to us from this angle. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I want to throw in a twist here, and these are rhetorical questions because I'm going to have a series of them.
Oh,
what is a choice? Just think about it. What are the mechanics of a choice? A choice to become a signature frequency match is a non-distortion of a choice. It also comes with a mantle of responsibility of one's own level of awareness. So when one makes a choice, a series of choice points are created. Okay? A choice, hold 1 second, I lost my place. Each choice has a subset of choices within the set of choice points. And this creates a subconscious map of adherence of previous choices. This helps us define our reality. And these are where traumas are trapped in, these choice points of adherence. And if we, as part of our daily inner work, look at our series of choice points at like age 9 to 19, and really look at our linear pattern of choices, we will see what programs run us subtly, deep inside, through the choices that we make. And when we start writing down and regularly chronicling our choices and choice points that show us the overall big picture of who and what we are, this subconscious map of adherence can change. And this is how you can create change just by understanding what a choice really is. Courage is a choice. It isn't given or granted by the rest of the world. The impetus to create a choice and create change is always within yourself. It's not mystical. Choice is not mystical in any way, shape, or form. It's the basic way we choose to be sovereign, individuated beings in a world that wants to force us into a conformity collective. We are not beings of conformity into a collective of conformists. We're individual beings on a journey to rediscover ourselves and the many layers of ecstasy, joy, and pleasure we can create that's within our moral code that doesn't create a charge and polarity and long-term karmic revenge to other lineages or people. So choices are always there in the moment for you to make and to unmake and unlearn other choices.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Paula.
All right, David, this has been a really good show, and we're going to be back on next week. Do we have a webinar this Friday, Robert?
No, we do not.
No, we don't.
Have one
No,
next
we do not. We will have one next week. We will be back live Tuesday next week. Go ahead to andrewbartzis.com and sign up for the email list to get all the information. All right, every reminder to sign up for our retreat, October 11th to the 14th on the beautiful island of Barbados. Go to info@unifiedhealthsystems.com. Thanks a lot, everyone. We'll catch you next show.
Goodbye, everyone.
Hello, my name is Chris Ray Chappell, and I'm going to be teaching in Aniki, Barbados from the 11th of October for 3 days, an intensive on Hunyuan primordial Qigong. This is a classical energy work set, which is primarily meant to open up all of the energy pathways of the body and to actually get you into your essence. Now, the idea of this set is it's going to open every single joint, muscle, every bit of connective tissue, the sinews, the organs, the spine, access the blood flow to the brain, creating a homeostasis. Now, Qigongs classically are meant for either health, power development and strength, and often for meditation. So the application of this set is broad ranging. So So I'd like to welcome you there. Hope you can make it for the 3 days. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy teaching it and sharing what I have to see who turns up. So I'd like to see you there. Thanks very much. Bye.